Scott, obviously a nice turnaround after the first 2 days where you barely made the cut. What was your kind of attitude after coming into the weekend when you are on the cut line and, it's unlikely that you're going to contend, but here you are?
Yeah. I just tried to bring a good attitude coming in. The first 2 days here were really frustrating. It's tough. It's the fourth week in a row. I'm pretty tired. I was in contention at Byron, PGA, and Colonial, and I'm pretty worn out at the moment. And so I was just proud of how I showed up this weekend and fought. And I hit it so good. And so I gave myself a chance. Maybe a few more putts go in. It's a little different story, but I'm not gonna go too far away.
But I'm sure you'd like to play a little more today.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing more golf.
Scott, I watched you work throughout the week. It looked like you were working with two different putters, spending a lot of time after the rounds on the greens. Do you feel like you're making progress?
I feel like I'm making progress. Like I said at the PGA, I can start feeling the ball coming off the blade again, which is good. I felt like at the Masters and was it Hilton Head didn't feel as good. This week, I hit, like even today, I just go through my round, like, how did some of these putts not go in? And I'm thinking, starting on 5, really good putt, just stayed high. 6, balls on the edge. 7, balls on the edge. 8, I made one from off the green, so that probably doesn't count towards whatever stats you're looking at. Jack's nodding, I guess that's true. Good putt on 9. Really, the only putt I'd like to have back was the putt I misread on 10, but I started on line. And then I get to 13, hit a really good putt, burns the edge. 14, same thing. Just one of those deals. Sometimes those putts go in and sometimes they don't. John and I were playing together today, and we were kind of joking after the round, I think on Friday, how bad we were both putting, but we both were thinking the same thing, that some of those putts look like they're going in, and about 2 feet away you're ready to go pick it up out of the hole, and then it just doesn't fall. And it's confusing, it's frustrating. I'm pretty frustrated with it right now, but I fought hard. I never gave up, and I put up a good fight.
How aggressive did you go ahead, Rex?
What are the differences, real quick, in the two putters you seem to have been working with this week? Is there any difference at all?
No, I used a putter with a different lie angle in the first round, and then I guess it was after Friday I had 2 putters out there, because I went back to my original putter on Friday, and then you may have seen me testing more, but I was putting with a lob wedge as well, just for practice.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see that? Okay. Maybe that's what you thought the putter was, because I did that after Friday and Saturday. It's something that I work on. It helps me release it, and I do that from time to time, and yeah.
It's good practice if you ever break a putter too, right?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've done that once. Try not to do it again. I've been tempted many times.
Knowing how tough the final stretch is, and knowing the boys are still on the middle of the front 9, did you find yourself playing a little more aggressively at all, or did you just stick to the same brand of golf?
Same brand of golf. Yeah, I stayed committed to all my shots. It's going to sound silly, but the only shot I really felt like I hit offline on the back 9 was my shot into 16, which is funny because it was, went in there to about a foot, and I got a good break, and then get to the next hole and get paid back for that good break with a pretty bad one with a big gust, and then ball hits the dang grass up above the bunker again, and it's happened to me so many times this week, and it's so frustrating because it goes all the way back down to the other side of the bunker, and you're on the downslope looking up at the green, and just how it goes sometimes.
What was the club at 16?
8.
Nice miss.
That's all. Just wanted to know.
Tee to green game, though. Just your stats are, really strong in every area. It's just been a continuation of what you've been doing, or is it even better?
It's definitely pretty good right now. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think a little bit of my struggles with the putting have probably helped me sort of elevate my ball striking, just because if I'm trying to compete out here, I have to, with the putts not going in, I got to hit it really good, and I've been able to do that. And so it's one of those deals where I think maybe people are asking me about my putting so much more because I'm hitting it so good, but it's not easy when you're hitting a bunch of greens. It's not easy to make every putt. If I was putting the best this week, I would have won by a crazy amount of shots. And, that's actually something I talked to John about, too, on Friday. He was getting the same questions. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, because I remember playing with him at the Byron, and his putting stats were bad, but he's like, dude, I'm just hitting so many greens that you don't really get to choose the kind of putt you want. If you miss more greens, you can kind of sit in there and find the uphill putts. And You get to see a read maybe when your ball's rolling by the cup, but if you're playing from back there in the fairway and you're hitting a ton of greens, it's not easy to make a ton of putts. Granted, my stats should still be significantly better than what they are now, but I have confidence in the stuff that I'm working on. And like I said, the ball feels good coming off the blade, so I don't really have an explanation for it. But, you know, I'm sure I'll get back towards my average and putts will start falling.
What's this period like now where you have a long wait, finished early in the afternoon, you're just looking up there and waiting?
I got to pack, so I'm going to get home and pack. Probably watch a little bit of the golf, see what happens. Our house is really close, so I'll probably go home and just pack and get everything together and then check the board, see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wait.
Scottie, you said that it was kind of tough for you getting up in the morning yesterday. How are you feeling today when you got up before your round?
You know, I was just glad I got myself a few extra hours of sleep. Yeah, it didn't. I think the fourth week for me is going to be pretty much a hard max. I hope I don't have to do this again in the future. Just one of those deals. It's long, especially when you're in contention, and especially when there's a major in there. I mean, golf, especially on these tough courses, puts wear and tear on your body. You know, playing from awkward lies, hitting out of this heavy rough, it can put some strain on your body, and especially all the adrenaline and stuff that happens throughout the course of a week, especially when you're playing well and in a major. And so, you know, I'm proud of how I fought, but I'm definitely going to go home and get some rest for sure.
Can you picture the U.S. Open being harder than this week, and would you like it to be?
I would imagine the USGA would definitely like the U.S. Open to be harder than this week. But it's one of those deals where it all depends on how they want to set up the golf course, and it depends on weather. There's so many factors that go into scoring for a golf course, and I'm sure U.S. Open it'll be tough. The rough will be high, but the USGA is really in the past few years, probably since I would say Shinnecock, I think they got a little bit of a bad rep that week. I didn't play, but I remember seeing a bunch of the highlights that it was a bit too extreme. And I think they've done a good job in years past of rewarding good golf, but still punishing poor golf. And so that's what you look for as a player is some sort of, you know, little reward or carrot for hitting a really good shot and being severely punished if hitting a bad one.
Do you have any sense, Scottie, that when it comes to the proposal of a ball rollback or any other issue, that the PGA Tour players' attitude toward the USGA depends on their relationship with them?
What do you mean?
Whether they got snubbed at a Walker Cup years ago, or whether, you know, you would be considered probably part of the USGA family as a past USGA champion. Do you think relationships matter and how the...
I mean, relationships definitely matter. I wouldn't say that too many guys would have a large effect on their perception of what the USGA is doing, because that's pretty big picture stuff. I mean, if the USGA chose to come up and, you know, penalize somebody for slow play during the tournament or something like that, and they're not doing it to everybody else, then yeah, you may get a little bit more of an attitude towards the organization. But when you're looking at something as big picture as the golf ball rollback, I think that's something that guys just have a strong opinion on in general. And I wouldn't say it has too much to do with your relationship with the governing body.
Yeah, I was trying, I guess, thinking of if you've picked up any kind of perception from the players toward the USGA.
I just think it's such a big topic, and I think it has more to do with golf course design than it does rolling back the golf ball. I think with the way that we're building golf courses now, with bigger greens, bigger fairways, taller rough, it really encourages you to hit as far as you can. I shouldn't say bigger fairways. I think bigger greens has a lot more to do with it, and you don't have to curve the ball as much. I mean, and you're taking trees off the golf course, which can force you to curve it. And I mean, you look at a golf course like Hilton Head, you look at a golf course like Colonial, and I mean, what won Hilton Head, like 12 under? Colonial won at 8. I mean, Riviera, it's the same thing. I think you got to find a balance between tree removal and how tight you actually keep the fairways, because I think of you know, some tournaments in the past with the USGA, and if the rough gets crazy high and the fairways are super firm and you just can't hit them, why would I try and squeeze a 3-iron into the fairway where I know almost the ball's going to go in the rough just as much as my driver? May as well get up there and just try and gouge it out somewhere by the green. And so, in my opinion, it has a lot more to do with the design and the way they're playing golf courses, that guys are just choosing to send driver everywhere. And if you put trees in the way and you're in heavy rough, you can't just gouge it out onto the green. But when you take all the trees off a golf course and you can spray it and you get to where the fans are, and all of a sudden you're sitting in grass that's matted down, you now have a better chance than if you laid up and just barely went into the rough. And so it's one of those, you know, funny deals where the big misses are easier to play from than the small ones. And, you know, it's a lot of strategy.
Good luck, Scott.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Miss Big.